night, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. My name is Canadian Boy Matt Quad, Standing Bear, Soda Tribe, Fishing Lake First Nations, Saskatchewan, Canada, Treaty 4 Territory, Anishinaabe, 60 Scoop Survivor, published author. Welcome to We Are the Medicine Circle, which really implies that we are the Medicine Circle. That's all it implies. So we are just we are sitting here together in the same circle with just about everybody else. Yeah, so that's it. Um, I am in the service of the Great Spirit, and I'm in the service of this circle. So it really just kind of relieves me. I'm like the middleman here. That's all I am. I'm not anyone special. I'm just hey, look, there's messages here that I deliver over here. So that's really about it. And really, think about it. We're all doing that too. So we're all taking that beautiful wisdom, and that's part of what makes us so beautiful and powerful, and puts us in that really beautiful place. So yeah, and one of those things that we always start out with is one of the most important things that we say is if no one said that they love you today, I love you very much, which really simply means that I want you to live your very best life, connected to those things, those spirits that bring us a really beautiful, powerful life, connected to all those things like earth, beginning with earth, fire, water, air. Earth, fire, water, air. Yes, and also seven sacred laws too. So that was a comment from you too. So yeah, so all right. So let's see here. House announcement. So yeah. So we are coming off one router, and we're coming off two platforms. Over there is YouTube, so if you would like to go over there, that is fine. It seems to be a little less glitchy over there, like over here, Facebook, man, it's got its thing going on, man, and not quite sure what that thing is. It kind of freezes the audio, all these things. It just kind of, it kind of looks like that, right? So if you want to go over there, Standing Bear, the author, over there on a YouTube, we got a good crowd over there now. Looks like yeah, just a couple people over there. So yeah, also because I will be traveling tomorrow, so this is will be most likely the last live for a couple weeks. I get back August 31st. 31st. We have a library. YouTube over there again has a library of information of every live that we've done. So this is kind of your routine. A couple of you had kind of reached out, hey man, I'm really gonna miss my routine. Just go over there, just hit that live button, right? Standing Bear, the author YouTube channel. Go please like and subscribe over there. Yeah, so that's that, and I'll keep posting from here, and just letting everybody else know what's happening. We are going over daily medicine July 15th, so that's a suggestion from you, and let us start in a good way here. And again, I'm not sure if you've been up on the news. They have found another August 8th through 11th, and they did they found some more mass graves up here in Canada. So please, from the residential school. So please, let's just keep those children, the families, in our prayers. As for the request from the grandmother out in Victoria, British Columbia, that says, hey, let's keep this smoke going. So let's have a volunteer. Just give me a little heart, give me a little thumbs up, and we can just kind of keep this smoke going. Just kind of looks like that right there. Yeah, just a little smoke, not too much, and in remembrance for. Also, there was another comment is. You asked what else is the smudge for? So it's not only for that. Thank you for the time and place and question of clarification. So this is for our personal cleansing also, as well as. So thank you for that. I thought that was. So there we go. So let's. So let's. A little bit goes a long way. So yeah, let us begin. So let's begin in a good, beautiful way here. If it doesn't begin with offering, then it doesn't begin. If it doesn't begin with prayer, then it doesn't begin. And if it doesn't begin with spirit, then it doesn't begin. So let's put all those together. A little help from the ancestors, a little help from above, little little offering, just tobacco offering, asking, praying without offering is spiritual stealing. So let's and then to all my relations, Kitchiman too, great spirit, creator, great mystery. Chi Megwit for our breath. Chi Megwit for our circle. Chi Megwit for our day. Chi Megwit for our life. We are grateful for our last breath, and we are hopeful for our next, and we live in that place in between. We come here today. We mean no harm in what we do. We mean no harm. We come in a good way. Come in a humble way, a sacred way. And we may come here for a lot of reasons, and that is good. But the first reason always is life. Without life, we have nothing. Without life, we have nothing. Without life, we have nothing. So we come here and we celebrate all life as if it was our own, because it is. What happens to the people of the circle happens to the circle. What happens to the circle happens to the people of the circle. So we come here and we celebrate all nations, tribes, and circles as a part of our life. We celebrate all life, all nations, circles, and tribes. Especially those nations, circles, and tribes that do not look like the two-legged, like the standing nations, the ones that offer the world breath. We say thank you. To the swimming nations, ones who teach us how to live in harmony and balance with the water. To the wind nations, ones who teach us how to live in harmony and balance with the wind and air. To the creepy crawlers and the slithers, the ones who teach us how to stay close and grounded to Mother Earth, we say thank you. To the four-legged nation, circles, and tribes, we understand that you offer and you teach us. You give us so much to and for our humanity. We say thank you. And of course, to other two-legged nation, circles, and tribes, we understand that you are our teachers as well. And this makes our ears and our hearts very happy. We come here and we celebrate those spirits and those things that offer us and give us a good life. Air, water, fire, earth. We celebrate those who have come before us, our ancestors. Remember, if they are our relatives here, which all life is, they are our ancestors over there. So we come from a million points of light and love, because they have lived accordance with spiritual law, and that is their offering. How we live our life is our offering to the next 7 generations. So how our ancestors lived, the first bears, eagles, hawks, otters, panthers, bears, how they lived is their offering and their prayers for us. It's an honor to be offered just good and harmonious and balanced prayers. Let us not overlook this. And we also acknowledge and understand that some of our two-legged ancestors were hurt, wounded, abused, and traumatized, and they passed those hurts and wounds along to us. We understand this acknowledges time of great sadness, great mourning, great suffering. We are not here to overlook that. We are here to heal from that. And we understand this healing is a process. And in this process, it's okay not to be okay. It's okay not to be okay. But it's also okay to heal. It's okay to understand. And as we heal, we begin to understand what they have offered us. Those hurts and wounds were never for us to carry or to hold on or to own. Their wounds are theirs, not ours. So we are here to heal from that and understand that. Because everything we do and say is our offering to the next 7 generations. For we only borrow this earth from our children, and our children are only loaned to us. So what we say, do, act, pray is our offering to the next 7 generations. Is what we're offering in accordance with spiritual law. And the ancestors, there's a trail for us to follow, but they were brilliant in the way they offered this. We can only see it with beautiful and absolute intentions of healing. And we're able to see this when we do with our eyes closed. The path is clear. A way is already made. It is called the Red Road, the road of wellness, the road of all life. It is the sacred hoop. It is a place of harmony and balance. But there are teachings to get to that place. This is not a destination, this is a journey. And along that journey, there are teachings here. Harmony, truth, love, honesty, respect, wisdom, courage. And the longer we walk this road, the more we realize we become those. So it's not over there, it begins to be in here. And the more it's in here, the more we understand the first prayer at the center of the universe. This place of harmony and balance, the first prayer, the first fire, the first light that ever was. We are here to be the peacemakers, the light givers. That is our offering to the next 7 generations. To be that place, to offer that place and that peace. So we come here today in this circle and we offer ourselves in all directions. All right. All right. Well, good morning, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. Once again, my name is Kenny Poet Macquat, Standing Bear Soda, Tri Fishing Lake First Nation, Saskatchewan, Canada, Treaty 4 Territory, Anishinaabe, 60s Scoop Survivor, published author. And so, yeah, welcome everyone. A couple of things before we start in earnest. We talk about this, and again, this is a comment for you. This is a gentle course correction. This is not a concept, right? So, so as we talk about hollow bones, so it's not like a concept. It's kind of like it's over there, right? No, and we're kind of looking. Oh yeah, it's over there. Yeah. No. So hollow bones is our spiritual walk, right? It is not a theory, It's we have to be. This is a place of great gentleness. We have to be really aware of the words that we use, right? So this is our spiritual walk. This is our journey. So when we decide, so the question was, well, like how do we know we're on the river? Well, you make that decision to heal, right? To encompass everything that prayer is, right? That's the journey. So there's no like physical like red road. I think it began everywhere we walk is really part of that, right? It means there's no separation between us and them. I haven't got there yet, so but I'll let you know when the closer I get, the more I guess I'll tell you. So, I don't know. So hollow bones is and there's a life force out there, and it comes in both seen and unseen, right? Comes from all directions, right? So it just doesn't come. So here's like another question. That came up with a bunch of questions yesterday or the day before that. So the red road, the red. We do not dismiss other races or other roads, right? Right. The sacred center. We talked about this yesterday. The sacred center is the red road, the place where we all meet. It is finding our place in the circle, right? Finding our place, connecting to that life force is finding our place in the circle. There, and that you can write down, right? Right? Finding our value. There's a beginning there that we understand that we have something to offer this world. That there's a place for us, right? So, all right. So part one, and this kind of thing we have to go over. So part one is connecting to that life force. It is not over at that point, right? It's not over. Part two is giving life, giving prayers, giving that life force back to giving that love that we have so freely received, giving that life that we have so freely been given, and offering that life and that love and that light back to the circle. That means giving prayers, giving life. That means praying with the water, encouraging others. That means praying for our enemies, praying for those ones that mean ill against us. That's what that means, right? We have the power to turn this around. That's what that means, right? So we go from a world where it seems hopeless to the circle, which means we are hopeful. And that's what that means. We are grateful for our last breath and hopeful for our next, right? So kind of bringing it all together, that's what that means. And so please come up. So also, please come up. We encourage you to come up with your own kind of definition of, so please just don't rely on me and Grandfather Tony and your elders. It's a mix of all that, right? It's a mix of all that, right? So, okay. So speaking of Grandfather Tony, thank you to Grandfather Tony. I've been with him for 30 years now. And thank you to all those other elders of medicine who carry medicine, men and women who carry medicine in a really good and beautiful way. Um, yeah, that means that means living in accordance with spiritual law. That's what that means. So again, so it's not just the Red Nation, those medicine men and women that live in a good way. There's other men and women in the White Road that live in a really good and beautiful way, and other men and women in the Black Road that live a really good and beautiful, and the men and women of the Yellow Road who live in accordance with spiritual law, right? So just because it comes from the colonial, it doesn't mean it's all bad, right? There's a lot of good in that colonial world, a lot of good people there. So we don't dismiss it. Again, it's one of those absolutes. We don't. I'm really not an absolute. We're talking a lot about absolutes over this. I mean, I have to change my opinion about that. But Grandfather Tony wasn't a big absolute guy either, so that's kind of where I got that. So I'm going to blame him. Um, anyway, I love you guys. Again, we just have a good time here. We really do. And we laugh, we cry, and, we heal together. And that's just a beautiful thing, right? Like we come here, we sit in a circle. It doesn't have to be so heavy, right? It doesn't have to be so like, and we can laugh and have a little levity too. Okay, so again, thank you to all the elders and the ancestors, and let's remember that that the elders and the ancestors are more than just the two-legged. Right? Elders are, and we mentioned them before, the elders and the ancestors: air, water, fire, earth. The bear, the beavers, bees, the otters, the panthers, all those are also our teachers and our ancestors too. When we think about, I just remember when Grandfather Tony talked about that, freaking mind blowing, man. Absolutely mind blowing. I was like, what? I've never heard of that because we're so conditioned and we're so taught to think in this like little itty bitty box that says, well, only the elders are the two-legged. They're the only ones walking the red road. We have to go there to look for the red, and that's not simply the case, right? So anyway, I'm going like that again. I do that a lot. Thank you for your patience. Okay, circle medicine. Here we are. This is what we look like right here. This is what we look like right here. The sacred, this is a braid of sweetgrass. Again, that was a question from you. Thank you for those who responded to that question recently. This is a braid of sweetgrass, the hair of Mother Earth. So again, there's some redundancies here, and the sacred feminine, right? So redundancy. So the sacred who. So this is all of us. This is Naomi, Jerry Lee, Nina, and actually you YouTubers. If you kind of introduce yourself, also, this is Greg. This is all of us. We are intertwined and we are overlapping. Yes. And so that's who we are, what we are. In fact, there was a comment the other day. We just kind of introduced ourselves. We got a bunch of new people here. I guess we'll do that once a week. Just kind of we have new people. So just kind of introduce yourself, where you're from, and all that. That would be good. Okay, sacred feminine. Okay, there was a comment yesterday again. So and that's okay. Please keep these comments coming. Like if you don't ask it, I don't know to respond to it. So again, they said very simple. Can you go over basically what you mean, because they've never heard that before? Okay, the sacred feminine, they have the ability to bring life, the life givers. That's what makes you sacred. That's it. That's not it, but that's beautiful, right? Let's just keep it right there. That's what makes you beautiful, powerful, and sacred, right? That is your offering. That is a beautiful. You came here. There's an agreement there, right? Right. So we are here. The rest of us are here to honor that agreement to be that you have made to be a life giver, right? Just because you made mistakes, just because there's been trauma and abuse, does not change the fact that you are sacred. It doesn't. That's a colonialism that we are trying to grow out of. So we introduce the new, right? And the new is you are beautiful and powerful and sacred, right? That's it, powerful. And the question was, well, what makes us powerful? Well, you bring in life. You bring in life. I can't do that. I used to be 20 years ago a really strong man. I used to bench press, bench press and run. I mean, I was a world-class athlete, but that pales into comparison. Bringing life into, that's how powerful you are. Let's just stay there, right? That's beautiful. I'm not sure if I could do that, right? I can't do that. Even if I wanted, I couldn't do it, right? Not have the body. Not only do I not have like the body parts, but it's just like, no. So no, again, your mistakes, and so what they wanted to hear again is your mistakes and your traumas do not determine how sacred you are, and your traumas and your abuse and your mistakes do not, here, write this down, do not take your sacredness away. There it is. It doesn't. And the same for men too. We are also sacred, right? We are powerful. We are beautiful. We have the power to be gentle, right? We have the power. Gentleness is a superpower, right? So again, men, we are, sacred too. So, remember that, and our mistakes, right, right, does not affect that, right? We have to live of course with spiritual law, and that's our walk, man. Man, I love you too, right? I'm with you, man. You know, I'm with you because there's a lot of us that have been traumatized too. In fact, probably most of us too. So. Anyway, please keep your questions and comments coming. I do not guarantee. I don't have a specific question today because I was like, oh, I put a little question mark here. So there's a lot of other questions that we. Okay, so we are going to go over daily medicine. Here we go. Daily medicine, and this is what that book like. Feel free to go out and get your copy right here. Go ahead and get a notebook. That's what a lot of people do, and that's that's a good thing. They take they take notes. It looks like this, right? So that's what it looks like. So and that's okay, it's okay. So what we do here, we will read the short little a couple of times, develop a general impression, right? This is not an ending. That was a comment from well, it feels like an ending. No, it's just a beginning, right? So we have to undyslex ourselves. I'm not sure if that's even a word, right? But we come from a dyslexic world, right? So the colonial turn things around. Praying without listening is like breathing in without breathing out. Praying without listening is like breathing in without breathing out. What does that say? Again, this is not a place of right or wrong, good or bad. Just because we've been here for some of us, there's some people in the circle, some elders been here for 50 years, right? But there's others in this circle that have 3 days sobriety, right? Again, circle medicine. We are all equal here, right? There's no gauge, there's no degree, there's no nothing. We are all beautiful and sacred. So please share your general impression too. That is okay. When you share your general impression, it gives other people permission to share theirs, and then when we're all sharing, then there's growth and, healing there. And this is not about right or wrong either. Praying without listening is like breathing in without breathing out. Okay. What does that mean? This is really powerful. This is what time is it? It's, okay, we got some time here. We're in good time. So, praying without listening is like breathing in without breathing out. Okay. So they're telling us, my general impression is there's an awareness there, right? That I didn't know. I didn't know anything about this when I first got here, right? When I first got to Tony, the Red Road, I was stuck in that colonial world, right? The first word is pray. Praying a prayer, I thought it was some sort of symbolic of a religious denomination type thing. And my people and I have been tortured, and genocide has been done upon my people from those people, those Christians and those Catholics, right? We're still digging up the bodies of the children that have been murdered by the Catholics, right? Right? So there's intergenerational trauma there. So I felt some sort of way when pops kind of like I could feel my hackles go up, like I could feel my hackles go up. And I said, well, we have to pray harder, man. It's kind of like that. And then Tony in all his beauty and his gentleness, right? And this is what we need, right? Prayer. And I didn't even know what prayer was when I got here, right? That's basically what I'm saying, right? What is prayer? That's a good question. Probably really significant to what we're doing here. What is prayer? expression of request. Right, 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 right. The more I understand it, the more it's like prayers help me align with what spiritual law, the seven sacred laws, right? That's what prayers become, right? How can I align myself with? But in the beginning, it was something else, and I didn't even know what it was, right? So, in the colonial world, let's take a look at this here. Just as contrast medicine, this is not good or bad. This is not, we don't label anything like that. So they turn it into like a begging sort of thing, right? Right, right. Well, over here, we turn it into a very beautiful, powerful, essential to our being, but we don't even understand what it is yet. So, I mean, we're going to get into it. So, prayer in the colonial world is some sort of begging, right? Right. Like, it's like a foxhole prayer beg. Like, oh God, just get me out of this one. Get me out of this one. Oh God, God, God. Oh, no, get me in your relationship. Okay, get me out of relationship. Get me out of it. It's kind of like, oh, give me more money. Give me more money. Give me, just give me. It's like begging. There is no power in begging. It's almost as if like they designed it that way, right? Some kind of spiritual design, right? So, but over here, spiritual realms, right? Words are a creation, right? Words is gentle. Words to align ourselves with what? The Great Spirit, to align ourselves with the seven sacred laws. That's where we begin, right? That's like if there's an east, if there's a beginning, that's where it is, right? So praying, that is now it's something, right? Right? Because we all want new beginnings, right? Especially for refugees from the colonial world, from the Christian and Catholic world. We're like, oh my God, it's just like, I don't want to beg anymore. I just want to create this beautiful, beautiful thing. Right? And I can't do it without you. And I definitely can't do it with some sort of patriarchy type, big white guy in the hill, like big white guy, I really need this, it's kind of like big white guy in the sky, No, but the power is when we sit together, when we pray together, when we pray together, that means we align ourselves together in accordance with spiritual law. That's what that means, right? It's beautiful, right? It's absolutely beautiful. Aligning ourselves with accordance with, that's the way we make things change, right? That's it. We are creators, right? That's what they don't want us to know over there. Instead, it's just so let's reverse this. Okay, so they know that we are creators. So what do they turn prayer into? It's better that we give you our prayers so you can pray our prayers. And then these prayers are really based on begging, right? It's either spiritual knowledge, spiritual walk. And remember, again, this is just so patriarchy. So basically, we say no, thank you, right? No, thank you, no, thank you. So now there's just us. There's beautiful us. There's 31 people. There's 31 beautiful people in the circle now. That's beautiful. And the beautiful thing is we all come from different beautiful backgrounds. Probably normally people in the colonial world that wouldn't mix, but yet we're over here. All different trauma and abuse, but yet we are here pulling this thing together, right? Changing the course of humanity by what we are doing here. That is incredible, right? That is incredible, right? Offered to us by my personal elder grandfather Tony. And again, let's take a look. Like where did these? And we're just going to run over today, just because I'm just getting fired up right now. So I love you guys. So our ancestors. Again, let's go back there. Where are we getting this knowledge from? Right. The beavers, the bears, the wolf, the otters, the panthers. They lived in accordance with spiritual law. We have to put that together. We have to begin to understand that a lot of where we get our things from is from there, right? Right. That is absolutely stunning, beautiful, and powerful. When we think about that, it's like, wow. Everyone carries a little different medicine. The panther carries different medicine than the bear, right? So Peter Nippy carries, a little different medicine than Daniela Davis. So that's just cool. That is just cool. Different perspectives. That is fine. That is absolutely fine. In fact, that is welcome. So we're all just think about that a second. So we don't say here in Red Road realms, well, bear medicine, that's a little bit more than eagle medicine. That's better, right? We don't say that. So why would we come to this circle and say, you know what? Daniela's medicine, man, that's just a little off compared to Peter Nippy's medicine, right? That's just like, that's just, like something else. No, we don't say that. We say thank you. That's all we say is just thank you. That's how we connect to it. We connect to it with gratitude and thank you, right? And so this is the preamble to understanding what prayer is and praying, right? This is the preamble. We don't talk about this right? It is get me warmed up. So we are beautiful creations of the Great Spirit, right? Beautiful. Our ancestors come from not only the two-leggeds, but it comes from the trees. We have the same DNA as the trees, right? We do. Looks a little differently at the end, but hey, look, the same DNA. So the eagle, the bear, right? So that's where that source comes from. So that tells us we all come from one beautiful source. So we are all beautiful creations. There, write that down. How amazing is that, right? The more we sit with it, the more we pray with that, the more that opens up, right? Right? I love you. This is so powerful, right? This is so powerful. This is life altering. Life changed my life. Still changed my life, right? Unbelievable. So, okay. So now that we've introduced prayer as a creation, what are we creating? And how do we open up that door? And I don't know why I'm whispering. I'm just kind of like, how do we open up that door? Asking, rather not offering, is spiritual stealing, right? Why do we do that? Because it brings it full circle, right? Full circle. We want to live full circle, and that's the way the indigenous people, particularly up here in London, that's how we do that. So otherwise, it's spiritual stealing, right? Which sounds a lot like that colonial world. They come in and just take, right? Once we take long enough, then we feel entitled, right? That's the sickness. That's what they have. Greed is a rich man's high. That's it. That's entitlement, greed, same thing, right? That's it, right? Once you start taking, there is no end because there's no end to taking. You just take, right? That's it. Own. And then like the thing, ownership is coming around. And it's like, then it's really scary, right? So when the invaders came over, they started taking parcels of and chopping it up. And we as indigenous people, we didn't understand how can you own the trees and the wind and, the water? Like this, it's for us, not for anyone else, right? We didn't understand that, right? Right? Those guys got to pray harder, right? So, okay. So now we're here. We know we're beautiful creations, right? Now we're making an offering, right? That's the setup. That's the setup to a really good, beautiful, powerful life, right? A lot of us don't know where to start. And those people who are doing the 30-day challenge, I'm still doing the 30-day challenge too. That was a comment. Do you still do? Yeah, of course I do. I wake up every morning, just part of my routine. I just wake up and say thank you. Particularly a couple weeks ago when I had that health scare, I didn't know it was sinister like cancer or anything because really scary stuff. And then I was looking back in the past couple of months, and I was like, man, I'm really tired. I'm really lethargic. I can't, my blood sugar was fine. It was just, really scary stuff, right? Talk about praying hard then, right? Praying hard then. Thank you for all your prayers. So the setup is creation, right? Right. So part of my creation was that the sickness, instead of coming into my body, sickness was leaving my body. That was my prayer. Thank you for the healing. Thank you for the sickness leaving. Right. We are creators of our own reality. What are you creating? Are you creating alignment or are you creating a mess? Right. Because you don't know how to align. Right. A little bit in your face, but necessary. Necessary. Right. So. Okay, let's finally get into this. Okay, so now that we understand what praying is, okay, an expression of expression of request. That's what a prayer is, right? Write that down. So asking without offering is spiritual. So we offer tobacco, opens up that spiritual door. Physical has to match the spiritual, right? We can't do one without the other. Otherwise, we're out of balance. And we come from a world that's out of balance, right? You know, so praying without absence of. Absence of. Write that down. So often we pray and we don't listen afterward. We just expect results, right? How many of us here, like, okay, I'm going to pray for this and I'm just going to expect that result, right? Right, 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 right. Listening here's where the colonial world gets tripped up, right? This is where I got tripped up, right? Yeah. Listening is the first form of communication. This is where stillness and silence come in, right? Right. And with that stillness and with that silence comes the understanding of what preparation. So it's not just, so silence isn't so silent when we're preparing, right? So prayer is about what? Listening, preparation, understanding the flow, and patience, right? Which is opposite, there's a pen. So which is opposite of the world that we come from, because we live in a pharmaceutical world where now is not fast enough. If I have a problem, I'm going to take a pill. I'm not going to look for another solution. I'm just going to take a pill and I'm just going to feel better because I need to feel better right now. But in the long-term results, we have to listen for. Everything begins with the spirit. It doesn't begin with a physical pill, a pharmaceutical pill. Let's not go down that rabbit hole. Let's just start here. If everything's here, here's the other thing. Praying and listening start with what? What his grandfather always drill into my head. Everything begins with spirit. And spirit has a physical, emotional, mental place, right? Write that down, right? So it's really getting beautiful. The more we sit with it, the more powerful it gets, the more we understand. And the more we understand, the more we can create a beautiful life for ourselves without living in fear, control, or manipulation from that world, right? So if we are creators, this is a way, there's a path. This is part of the red road. A price has to be paid, right? We understand this. In other words, we have to wake up. We have to do something. We just can't sit in a room for 20 years and expect something else to happen. That's like going to a 12-step meeting and expecting us to get sober. Well, that's okay, and it's good that you showed up. That shows a lot of something, but not enough of what we really need. Again, we have to be all in here. So praying without listening. So they're telling us, that's what they're saying here. Put in parentheses, we have to be all in. We have to be present emotionally, mentally, spiritually, physically, right? They all have to mirror and they all have to match each other. I love you. I love you, right? And again, this is time of great gentleness. This is time of great compassion and understanding, right? Because when I'm hurting, I want instant relief right now. I'm with you, right? A couple weeks ago, I'm in that pain, man. I know something's there, and I was scared, right? I was scared. And I called Grandfather Tony up. I said, what do I do, man? I'm scared. I'm crying, And I'm thinking about, well, I'm going to miss everybody here. I'm going to miss Sybil, and I'm going to miss Luna, and I'm going to miss Bonnie and Dustin, and because I might not be here in a couple. And that's where I was, right? I was in that place, and rightfully so, because we don't know, right? We don't know. Grandfather Tony, let's create something new here. And how do we do it? This is the way that this is what he's always told me. You see, those old ones, they don't deviate from a creation, and this is the way we create a beautiful life. Really, and this is what we do every day, right? So this is a microcosm of what we do every day, right? So what do we do every day? Little introduction. That's like, in ceremony, that would be the politeness round. So we introduce ourselves. We actually said, well, let's introduce ourselves, right? In a good way. Hey, I'm from here. I'm so. All right. Then we did a smudge, right? Hey, let's do a little cleansing before we start, right? Let's do a little prayer. Looks exactly like what this reading is right here. So The circle, we are the medicine circle. Actually, I got the shirt on. Yeah, so we are the medicine circle, and this is a microcosm of what we do every day, like a microcosm. So, all right. Okay, praying without listening is, that's like pretty exact. It's not like maybe. Sometimes might. No, is. Circle that word, put big italics around it here. There. Let's get a marker. Let's mark that puppy up, right? To be like, wow, is. There's no wiggle room. There's no wiggle room. I like a lot of wiggle room. Like when I got here, like I do. But here it says is. Very clear. Is. It says down that hall right there. Is very clear. No, is. No. Right. Praying without listening is exactly like breathing. Okay, so now to talk about praying, listening, and breathing. What does that tell us? Draw a little triangle, right? That means they're all related. That means they're all connected, right? When I got here, I didn't understand that, right? Because we come from a world of separation, right? Well, everything is separated from each other, right? It's socially engineered that way, right? To is not aligned with our spirit, but when we come over here, and this is not a good or bad thing, it's just contrast medicine. So when we come over here, we just say, hey, look, so we step into this new thing, right? We're stepping into the spiritual world, right? We can live in that world, but we live in and start here. So there is a way that we can live cohesively, as long as we stay in a prayerful, mindful alignment state with the spirit, right? And really that's where the significant change is in the course of humanity. We have already changed the course of humanity by what we are doing here. And I'm not being dramatic. Those are words from Grandfather Tony. Every time that we get together, we have changed the course of because there's an alignment there that wasn't there before. So they have changed. It's like someone sent me a thing with quantum entanglement or something like that, quantum physics, which really means what they feel over here by what we get over here, right? And it could be billions of light years between the two, but that's the deal, right? So the web of life, let's bring in that, the web of life, the sacred web of life, right? Both seen and unseen, right? Once you wiggle the web over here, we know it wiggles over there, right? So that's just spiritual common sense, right? And the colonial world just figuring out, like they're just saying, I think it's all related. And we as indigenous people here, we already know it already is, right? We just know, we just know like we know because there's an alignment there, right? Because the medicine men and women, they have done this work, they walk this way, they know it, right? There's a truth there that we understand, realize that we didn't understand and realize before, right? Because when we are aligning with the spirit, that means we're praying, we're listening with, for understanding that beautiful alignment of the spirit, right? We are all related, right? So it's not a concept, it's a way of life. That's what that is, right? So we're just going to run over today. I said that. So, okay, light breathing. Okay. Why do you think they use the Great Spirit and the ancestors use the word breathing? A million other things they could use. Why do you think air? Right? Someone said air. I could hear it. Air. Okay. Air, one of what? The four elements that bring us what? Life. So this is how, so they're telling us, this is how we bring in a good life, right? Understanding that air is absolutely involved in understanding, connecting to us in spiritual realms, a really good, beautiful, powerful life, connecting. And let's just add a lot of beauty here. When I sat down with the South American shamans, my brothers, really powerful. If you ever get a chance to sit with those guys from Bolivia, Peru, and all those guys, go down there and just sit, And I was really honored. In fact, I'm going down there next year. Is to just sit with them, right? Just sit with them, right? and what an honor and a privilege it is to sit with those guys, sit with those men and women, right? You know, and I'm just like, like if there's ever that I felt like I was a student, I just want to sit there and let's backtrack here and just listen. So I don't go to that circle and say, I'm so and so from no, I just sit there like a fly in the wall, a being, and just sit there, listen, listen with all my heart. Right. So they talk about, circling back around to breath, they talk about this beautiful concept, and you guys can write this down, right? Write that down. So breath, what is breath? Sacred breath of life. If you don't understand how sacred breath is, hold your breath, right? You'll find out in about 10 seconds about, how sacred life is. Like, oh yeah, I need to breathe. So, okay, so let's take a look at what's in that breath, right? Right? They spent centuries, thousands of years. They sat in prayer with this, right? You know. So we understand that, and that power comes from thought, language, prayer, breath is part of that, an integral part of that, right? So, so a good loving prayer is so much more powerful than a not so loving. So, those things that survive, that are still in the air, still hold that beautiful prayers and that beautiful life, right? So when they talk about breathing in, they do a lot of breath work down there, right? They do a lot of breath work. So breath work is breathing in the prayers of the ancestors. So that's the physical. The spiritual, then we listen to that, right? I can't make this stuff up, right? And I'm just sitting there looking like that, like, oh my God, that's so beautiful and so powerful, right? I'm going to share this medicine. This is what we're doing here. We're sharing the medicine, right? We're sharing that breath. So, right? So, imagine here, write this down. Imagine the most beautiful prayer in the world, right? The one that really touches your heart. We are creators. So imagine that. Write out what that prayer is. And imagine you're breathing that prayer in. That's what they told me to do. They told me to take a leaf, like that was represented in the spiritual. Might have been a coca leaf. I'm not sure, but it was some sort of leaf. So anyway, they told me like that, right? And I go, that's pretty amazing, right? Right. Oh, that's powerful, right? Okay, so praying without listening is like breathing in. So praying, listening, and breathing, they're all related. They're all cousins and brothers and sisters, right? Right. It's like breathing in without the absence of breathing in, with the absence of breathing out. Breathing out. So full circle. That's what that means. That means we have to live in full circle. Right? So that means we can't live down a one-way street, right? And a lot of us live in a one-way street where we're going someplace and we don't know where we're going and we don't know how we're getting there. That's what the colonial world basically tells us to do. Here, do this, learn that. That's what that is, right? So let's connect those dots and say, so let's pump the brakes a little bit. Let's come to the spiritual circle. Let's come to the elders and the ancestors, which are the beavers, the bears, the otters, the panthers, the wolf, and say, hey, look, there's a different way to live. There's a better way to live. Praying without listening is like breathing in without breathing out, right? That means suffocation, right? Who here has felt suffocated by that colonial world? Where they just defined that right here for you. They made it really clear in no uncertain terms what we're doing and how we're doing it, right? This right here, breathing in without breathing. That's a one-way street we don't want to go down, right? That means we're breathing in what they want us to know instead of what is really out there, the full circle, right? So it's really like breathing in colonial world without breathing out. So we add the breathing out to what? Create a beautiful life, but we have to know that there's a spiritual roadmap there that we can live. In other words, there's a safe place for us, right? right? When I came over from the colonial world, like I was drinking, fighting, looking at long-term incarceration because of all that, right? But now I'm over here, been sober, been sober for a while, you know, living this way, sitting with grandfather Tony and being like, look, I think I'm going to listen to you. I think I'm going to listen to you now. In fact, this is what grandfather Tony did in absolute beauty and power, and said, you go out and you sit with as many elders as you can, because there's so many right ways to breathe in and breathe out. And I'm like, so that's how I ended up in Europe. That's how I ended up sitting with the Druid priests. But I'm not that far above that, because I want to know how to live a good life, but I don't know how to live a good life without listening to you, Druid priests, medicine men from West Africa. But I don't know how to do that. Shamans in South America and Central. I don't know how to do that. It makes my life exponentially better. Not only for me, but for who? My understanding. Here, write this down. My understanding of the Spirit is my gift to the next 7 generations. Write that down. What are you offering? Are you offering, and let's be really blunt here, are you offering, patriarchy to the next 7 years, or are you living a life of full circle? That is your offering. So the teaching behind the teaching, and let's start thinking about takeaways here. There was a note. You guys are great. Just send me a private message. Just send me a private message. Just put it in the feed there, right? So I know I haven't said takeaway all day. So anyway, what is your takeaway? What are you going to take? And the part of the takeaway, let's kind of add this too. The takeaway, probably should include the next 7 generations, right? Right? Because ultimately that's where it's going, right? Right? Hopefully it goes to your neighbors and your loved ones and your friends. That's where it's got to go, and it's got to go here first, right? That's your first takeaway right there. Put it right in there. Hold that puppy right in there, right? Right? That's right. Right. So you're healing up. So we're just going to run over because there's a ton of notes here that I hadn't. So talk about this. Let's talk about this. Is really, really important. I love you. We're just going to run over. I love you. So let's go back to this praying. What is it? And I'm sorry I glossed over it. We're circling back, right? So there's a story that I told, it was early in my walk too. And, and I got smacked around by Spirit, man. I'm here to help you, here to understand this. So let's talk about praying. Let's talk about prayer in full circle, because that's what we're talking about, a full circle prayer. Understanding what that is, right? Does this say here it's going to be easy? Where in this reading does it say it's going to be? What do we always say? A price has to be paid, right? So we always have to be, so the premise is we always have to be reaching out. We ought to be doing, we all have to be offering. We all have to do these things, right? Sitting a sedentary life spiritually, it doesn't do anybody any good, right? That's very clear, right? A price has to be paid. Again, I talk about this all the time. I'm doing a lot of reading, man. I really do, right? Because I want to understand the world in which I'm involved with. Right? We live in a world like we don't read, we don't investigate, we don't pray, we don't listen, we don't know the world around us, and we're confused at that point. Well, I want to be very clear about, where I'm going, what I'm doing. I don't want to be confused. I want to be clear, right? And this is the way that we do it, right? This is one of the beautiful ways. So, getting back to my story, I started about 3 minutes ago. Sorry about that. I said, grandfather, man, like I was frustrated because I wasn't healing fast enough, right? I wasn't healing, I was just in this place, because anger was my default mode. Anger, drinking, and drugging was my default mode, right? been there, done that, right? So this is patience, right? And I said, okay, all right, I'm going to be really spiritual and I'm going to pray for patience, man, because you know what? I deserve it. I come here, I deserve it, and you have to give it to me. Okay, first mistake. So after that ceremony, right? After that ceremony was on the weekend, right? I'm living down in Miami. I gotta go to South Miami, which is like, so it's North Miami and then South Miami is another like hour away, right? It's like 8 miles, but as your crow flies, but it's like an hour, right? Because it's just like traffic, and that's not a good day. That's not a good day, right? I had to go down Monday through Thursday for something, right? You know, I was supposed to be there at 9. Didn't get there to about noon or 1 every day. I'm sitting in traffic. I'm sitting in traffic. First day, really angry, really blown up, just like cursing, just like mother effing everybody. Just like just driving, just like horrible. Just driving that car, just like, and literally driving my spiritual car too. Right? About 2 hours to going 2 feet. In about 2 hours, it occurred to me. That light hit. I said, I know what's going on. Creator won't give me patience, but give me situations to be patient in. And after that moment, I settled down. If I want to know how to live a good life, Creator won't give me a good life. Will give me things to do to understand how to live a good life. Right? Okay, so let's fast forward to love and creating unity. Right? Write this down. Everybody, write this down. Everybody, this is grab a pen. Put love and unity. Like creating to understand a family, a spiritual family. That's what we're doing here, right? That's what we're doing here, right? And we all have different creating, and that's beautiful, right? So we're all in the community, finding, creating community that we be involved in to create this unity, right? Right. But taking that patient story, it will give us a situation to learn how to be a family, right? Write that down. So I know this, right? I know this because I know patience. And I didn't do it with humility. After that, I said, I think I'm just going to be humble right from the onset, and I'm not going to ask for anything because that looks like humiliation, right? And I don't want to go there, right? So, love, unity, beautiful, powerful. People do it all the time, but they miss that because they think it's easy, right? No, if it were easy, then we'd already be doing it, right? But so when we create this unity, the Creator, the Great Spirit's going to give us situations to understand, to grow closer to that community, and it's not always easy. That means people butting heads, ideas butting heads, right? That's what that means. So write that down, right? If you want to create a loving community, a loving circle, understand that getting there, understanding that Creator's going to give you a situation to move through that in a good and beautiful way, right? And this is not a test. These are choices. You have a choice, right? You have a choice whether to move through this in a good, humble, beautiful, sacred way, or you can do it another way. And another way looks like, well, I'm going to take my ball and go to somebody else because I don't think this is good between you and me. But the fact is, once we get beyond that, right, then that bond will be unbreakable. That would mean I expect everybody in this circle to be loving and gentle with each other. Well, that's the hope. But in actuality, we're going to butt heads with people, People do it to me, and people say, "Hey, look, and then they come throw it away, right? So let's also talk about in my second hour. Let's also talk about praying without listening. And so what are we listening to and what are we listening for? We're kind of backtracking a little bit, but the first thing that I think we covered a little bit, but is what? Right. The medicine wheel. Spiritual. Okay, so we start with spiritual. Okay, what is spiritual? Right. And it's not that far away from those things that give us life. So air, water, fire, earth, right? That's not that far away, but it's not right here, right now. Right now is what Grandfather started with me. Humility. How do we live in a good way? That means we live in gratitude, right? That means we live, and gratitude has a voice. Humility has a voice. They have a prayer. They have, they have everything we have. A prayer. Gratitude is a spirit. Are we listening to that place of gratitude, or is it some place that we think we really need to go just because we want to be like, okay, we want to be spiritual, let's go gratitude. That's why that's why the 30-day challengers, their life has changed because they have made a habit of living in gratitude, right? And it's not a rote routine. Once we live that way, and then guess what? So gratitude doesn't leave us out there to fend for ourselves. It does not. Here, write this down. It does not leave us vulnerable, right? Right. Because we associate humility with being vulnerable, right? Right? No, in actuality, it is that it is that colonial concept that is dyslexic, right? In fact, it's not even dyslexic. We can just miss that altogether. We just say no, thank you. We know that this place of gratitude and humility is what our greatest strength. Just like gentleness is a superpower, right? You know. I put myself out there, right? Let's just put it out there. I put myself out there, right? I am in, I put myself out there, and some people just don't like it, right? And what do I say? When they start running, I say, okay, that's it. I love you. That's it. And I lovingly dismiss them, right? I don't hate them. I don't have to hate them. I don't have to say anything other than what? No, thank you. You see, that's where the gratitude comes. And thank you and gratitude, they have a voice of its own. They have a prayer of its own. They are very, very beautiful, powerful. But, we will never know if we pray with them and again for them, right? Let's write that down. Praying with these things and for these things is a better way to understand these things, right? This is really, I could talk another 6 hours on this. I really could. And I love you, right? I love you, right? So when we go to ceremony, that's why, Indigenous people, that's, the medicine bundle that I've been asked to carry, certain ceremonies, those are the central figures of, the basis of the foundation. That's what grounds us to other living things, right? Other living things that give us a good, beautiful life. That's that connection, right? That's that walk with, right? We come from a world that the educational system doesn't teach us. There's a meaning that the ancestors brought to me is that our education is incomplete if it doesn't include the natural rhythms of harmony and balance of Mother Earth. This is exactly what we're talking about, and this is exactly how we get there, right? This is it. So living a beautiful, people say all the time, we had a large weekend, right? Here's a great time to sit there, to physically come together and physically pray, right? And about 20 people said they would show up. About half that showed up. So 50% of the people, they just couldn't show up, right? In fact, some people drove halfway here and then turned around because that's where they're at, right? The most beautiful, powerful place to sit in the same circle, right? Listening with each other. So anyway, so what is your takeaway from here? What is your takeaway, right? And so this is really important. And in fact, a couple young ladies, they're in their 20s. I think the one is in Colorado and the other's in Florida. But I think they're kind of friends or they know each other. But, they were talking about the importance of this takeaway thing. And I'm like, so, and then I said, well, I think it should come from you, right? Don't leave this all up to me because I'm human, I'm flawed, and I'll forget, right? So, so what is your takeaway, right? What are you going to hold on to? And the short term and the long term are the same thing because they're both gifts to what? The next 7 generations. So our life is no longer our own. Our life is an offering to the next 7 generations. And don't act like, let's not misunderstand this. They are already right here, right now. So we can physically talk to them right now. Hey, this is what it is. This is what we're doing. That's a beautiful creation. That's a creation of the bond, right? And again, just imagine listening to that bond, right? Right, with the certain ceremonies that we do that, and again, our life will never be the same. I will never view I will never view the 7 generations, as separate again because I always thought they were separate. I thought they were like that way, and I had to look down there. I was looking real hard, and I'm like, well, and that's really spiritual, and I love that. But the fact is, they're right here, right now, because that's what the full circle says, both seen and unseen. Right, that is all of us. We are already intertwined, and not just because they never got here, it doesn't mean they're not here. So that means the ancestors, they're still here. Just because they came and left doesn't mean they're not here anymore, right? So anyway, I'm fired up this morning, man. I love you guys, man. I love doing these circles. So anyway, that's my good friend Don Goodman. All right. So let's do a couple fun announcements. So I recently got I recently did an album, my first album. Was real scared, right? Was real scared, but was doing it. Yeah, playing hard. So uh, Akron Recording Company. I did that long, like 2 or 3. I've been sitting with that because I've been in that place of being scared, right? You know, and then I recently got that back. We are remastering and redoing that. In fact, the young gentleman's on here that is doing that, and we are going to, my first album that is going to come out here really shortly. So stand by for that. And also, my next book, my fourth book, is going to be out there. We are going to have a pre-order date probably next week. So, Sifting Through the Ashes will be coming out next week. And again, it's another beautiful, powerful book like Whispers from the Hollow. These beautiful, beautiful meditations that we get to sit with and grow closer in community. What a great thing. And also, so again, I will be traveling this time tomorrow, man. I'm gonna be on on the plane tomorrow this time, and so on my way to Germany. So my European friends, not too late to get signed up and to join us. Um, um, I'm going to be in Germany, Hungary, and Austria, so it's a real tight trip. So if you want to do that, please get a hold of me. We'll send you that information. Also, Denise Miller and myself, Denise Miller, a Métis grandmother. We are putting it. Man, we worked on it last couple of days, and we are doing this workshop, Journey Through the Seasons. It's a recovery-based workshop, some wisdom from all around the world, right? So recovery is connection to the world, right? So we take wisdom from all around the world, and it's beautiful and powerful. And so we are getting ready for that. That is coming up next month, September 24th through 26th. If you want information for that, please let myself or Denise Miller know. It's a really beautiful and powerful weekend, and we're going to offer that again. We're going to be another Journey Through the Seasons again, and we're going to start that in December again, online seminar teaching workshop. So I love you guys. Again, it looks like another bear hour has passed. I love you guys. So let's put this takeaway. Let's again. I got like 6 different fluids, but I'm doing this with it. Just kind of close your eyes and let this music and this flow just ground us in a really good and beautiful way. All right. I love you. The final word is this ceremony may end, but the ceremony in you does not end. So take what we lived here, loved here, and learned here, and listened to here, and take it out to the four winds. That means put it here first. Take it out to the four winds. That means this goes far beyond hitting that share button. Hit that share button, but it's more importantly that we take it out physically to the four winds. That means be kind and courteous and gentle and compassionate to everyone and everything that you meet. That's what that means. My name is Kaneepa Makwan, Standing Bear. And no one said that they love you today. I love you very much. Let's have a great day.